We all want to please everybody. And if you want to please everybody, you got to go sell ice cream. Let's get some coffee. You know what's crazy? This is sick because it's like I'm the only speaker that they had a breakout session for.
Really?
Yeah.
Because that's how much people like really want to talk to you.
It's been amazing, man. It's just been impacting as much as I can, man. Wonderful lunch. Raise your hand if you joined me at lunch just a little bit ago, right? We talked a lot about everything, right? We talked about real estate. We talked about balance. We talked about mindset. One young lady said, you know what? My goal is to do 50 houses next year. And I said, you know what? I think you're messing with the wrong people because that's a very low goal for you. I said, you're messing with the wrong people because that would not be my goal for you, you know? And then another lady, I don't know if she's here, she's actually not here. She said, well, I don't ever want to be as big as you. And I said, well, you first and foremost, you never compare your journey to anybody else's journey. And I said, and you think that I wanted to be where I am right now when my journey started? Absolutely not. This is kind of something that just happens over time, right? We evolve. It was just me and my business partner. Actually, it started with me leaving a corporate job. So, I didn't never want to be as big as me. I'm sure Tony Robbins didn't want to be as big as him. It just kind of happens. The more that you are able to serve and provide in numbers and quantity, the more that you just somehow continue to scale. So it's not like, oh, hey, I don't ever want that kind of operation. I don't want to make that much money. I never heard anybody say that, by the way. So it's not about that. You start with small steps. And that's exactly what we did. We started with very small steps. Me leaving my job. Actually, me putting out my first bandit sign. That was a small step, right? Me overcoming fear of marketing. That was a huge step, right? Me hiring and trusting and relying and delegating, that was a huge step for us. You see how these little steps, they're compounding steps. Nobody starts out saying, I want to build a 7-figure operation tomorrow or next year. Nobody starts out that way. So that's why I was trying to tell them, if you were there with me on the table when the first person said, I don't want to do more than 50 flips next year. I said, she's like, oh, no, she says, my goal is to do 50 flips next year. I said, look, if that's your goal, I said, no disrespect, you can still come to Momentum, the event that we're throwing in November, but you probably won't qualify to be in the boardroom elite, the executive boardroom elite, because, that's a 6-month mentorship, and we literally are on Zoom calls with you every single week, and my goal for you is not going to be 50 houses. If your goal is 50 houses, my goal for you is going to be 100. I literally told her right there and then, right? Who heard me say that to her? I said, no, well, my goal for you is 100 now. You see, that's just the way. Remember when we were up there on stage and we said, hey, look, our expectations, our standards, they just are what they are. They are what they are. And then the other lady that said, I don't ever want to be as big as you, it's not about who's big and who's not. It's not about that at all. It's just maximizing on your individual potential, maximizing on what you can do as a person as a whole. Everybody has different gifts. Everybody has different niches, and it's not about who's big and who's not. And like I said, comparison is one of the biggest thieves of joy. Can you imagine if every single day I woke up and I compared myself to Tony Robbins every single day? How shitty would I feel? That guy has 400 plus businesses. That guy gets paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to speak on stage. That guy has a private jet. That guy travels all over the world. Can you imagine if I woke up every single day comparing myself to Tony Robbins? That would be a huge mistake. That would be an injustice to me. Right. And that would almost block my, my capacity and my potential and my journey. So that's not what this is about. This isn't about who has what, and no, it's about you building. You know, it's about you taking that small step like I did when I put that freaking first bandit sign in the dirt. You know, when my fiance wrote that first bandit sign with a marker. We couldn't even afford real bandit signs, pre-printed bandit signs. So she was doing them with a marker every single Wednesday and Thursday so I can go out on Friday from 11 p.m. to 2 to 3 in the morning. And it took me 6 months to get my first deal. 2,400 bandit signs is what it took me to make $5,000. 2,400 bandit signs. I would never forget that. And I will never forget exactly how my first deal went. Raise your hand if you remember your first deal and how that went. Because that first deal, what does that do? What does that do? What does the first deal do for you?
Builds a momentum, confidence.
Confidence? Raise your hand if that first deal changed your life forever. That first deal changes your life forever. It's like you discovered gold or something, right? You're like, oh my God, I can actually make money doing real estate? I only thought that was reachable to the top 1%, the top 3%. Oh my God, I can make a lot of money doing real estate. I can have financial freedom doing real estate. I can have the freedom of time doing real estate. I can provide for my family doing real estate. I can be in freaking Playa del Carmen, right? Educating, building a community, having a great time because of real estate. And that's where we are today. So the first thing I want to say is give yourselves a hand for actually committing to yourselves and being here and making it happen for yourselves. So give yourselves a hand for that. Because you know what, guys? Let's be honest here. They say that only 5% of people actually do what you guys are doing right now. I say it's 3%, but a lot of people, you know, again, our standards are a little higher, right? So a lot of people say, oh, you know, only 5% actually, you know, they make it happen. Only 5% make it happen. The other 95%, they work, you know, they punch in and punch out every single day. Nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that because there's a lot of happy people that have jobs, okay? There's a statistic that if you make between $70,000 and $120,000 a year, you are a very happy person. And I can totally understand why that's very true, right? Can you guys kind of understand why that's true? Because you kind of have what they call a balance, right? That's another thing we were talking about at the table. We were talking about a balance. Look, I got bad news for you. You're never going to have balance in your life, ever. As much as we chase it, as much as we want it, you're never going to have balance in your life. Why is that? Who wants to raise your hand if you understand why I'm saying you will never achieve true balance in your life. This is a very experienced man here. I had a great conversation with him. He has two daughters, and he's an entrepreneur, and he's made a lot of money over the years, and he's been in business far longer than I have, and maybe he can talk to you a little bit about balance, because I can sit here and talk about balance, but this man will have a better clue.
So I'm more interested in hearing what you think about it. But my perspective is, I'll never have balance in my life. There are areas in my life that require a harder focus. And at those times, that's where I focus. And they're imbalanced. If I want extraordinary results, then it's going to take an extraordinary focus, not a balanced focus. I don't want average results. I don't want an average life. That means it's imbalanced. I'm pushing for what I want. And that's why it's never balanced. It's always skewed towards where am I going.
I love it. Who agrees? You know, the only thing that he missed out was it's also going to take extraordinary sacrifice. Extraordinary sacrifice. And that is what separates the 95% from the 5%. People aren't willing to pay that price. People aren't willing to miss, 4 of the first 7 years of their daughter's life, on and off, And all I can say to you is, hey, look, love your children with all your heart. Try to spend as much quality time with them as you can, and be present. Be present when you are around them. Be present. And that is what's going to make you a great father or a great mother. Because just like I said the other day, I said, it's great. You're a seven-figure earner. What you got to try to do your absolute best to be a 7-figure father, and a 7-figure, brother, and a 7-figure husband, and a 7-figure son. You get that? We all want to be the best versions of ourselves in every single way. And that's why when it comes to balance, all I can say is, hey, spend as much quality time as you can. They will remember dad spending quality time with their kids, okay? Because you know what? My mom had 2 jobs. Like I said, she worked at the airport at night for LSG Sky Chefs, making $8.25 an hour, and she worked for a school, an elementary school in the cafeteria, making like 7 something an hour. So she literally only slept about 3 to 4 hours Monday through Friday. Okay? She did that for at least 10 years that I remember. So guess what? Did I ever get to spend quality time with my mother? Unfortunately, no. It was school and then go to the park until 9 p.m. and then go home. That's what it was. I wasn't raised, even though she did absolutely what she could for us, this is just the cards that she was dealt, and she did what she could with those cards that she was dealt. And thank God, look, it turned out okay. Her sacrifice turned out okay for us. So again, she did not have balance, and she had 2 jobs, and she didn't have balance. So something's going to suffer. The one thing I got to tell you right now is if you really want to try to reach massive success or be the best version of yourself, you're going to try to do your absolute best. You're going to try to do your absolute best to find that balance, but it's never going to happen because one thing is going to suffer. One or the other is going to suffer, okay? If you're working 6, 8, 10, 12 hours a day, you don't have balance, right? If you're taking care of your kids for only 2 hours, you don't have balance. If you're taking care of them for 12 hours, you don't have balance. It's not going to happen. There's only 24 hours in a day. And we sleep for 8 of them. So that's the one thing I want to tell you guys first and foremost is if you want to achieve massive success, you're going to have to commit to yourself to pay that price. And for those of you that don't have kids, you're in a great situation because there's nothing holding you back, because it is a little harder with kids. I'm not going to lie. I have 2 kids of my own. It is a little harder. But with those of you with kids, my fiance takes care of our children, and I had that talk with her. I had that, that hard talk with her. Hey, babe, you're not going to see me a lot. The kids are not going to see me a lot, but I'll be there. I'll be there at nighttime. I'll try to make it for dinner if I can. That didn't really happen the first 2 to 3 years. I didn't really get to even start coaching her Little League team until literally a year ago, when I already had a team. When you're in the building stage, there's a lot of sacrifices involved. You're going to have to lose some friends. You're going to have to lose some family members, and everybody's going to say that you're a fake or a fraud or you're changing. You're going to get criticized left and right. People aren't willing to put up with that, and that's why they're not in the 5% threshold. Who agrees? Right? We all want to please everybody. And if you want to please everybody, you got to go sell ice cream. Because you're never going to please everybody. You're never going to please everybody. So let's get into business, because I can talk mindset all day. That is my thing. That is what I love to do. All right. This is why, thank God, I am here because of what's up here. You know what I mean? Thank God. So let's get into business. So the way it happened for me, what pushed me over the edge, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. If you have a job, I'm not telling you to quit tomorrow. I'm not. I'm telling you to get at least 6 months worth of reserves and have some deals in the pipeline, okay? Because that's exactly what I did. I worked my ass off for 1 year to leave my job, okay? So this is exactly the way it went down, okay? I was like a district manager in my organization. I was traveling to Seattle, Texas, California, and our headquarters were in Arizona. And I was a district manager, and I was training for 4 years to be a regional manager, to go from making $70,000 a year to making $110,000 a year. I was up next. It was me. I was the number 1 guy. I'm the guy that pushed the way I push now, okay? And here we are, the position's finally open. The regional manager is leaving to be a software engineer or something, and the position's finally open. And I'm like, yes, I'm the only person that's been training for this his name was Adrian, under Adrian's wing for 4 years. I'm next. This is me. I worked my ass off. Oh man, my family's gonna be sad. I'm gonna be making $110,000 a year. I'm gonna have 6-week vacations, 401k, IRA, 3% match, health benefits, the whole 9 yards, right? That is corporate America. Those are the carrots, right? So as soon as that whole transition started, they come to me and it really scared the shit out of me because they say, hey Carlos, we know you're up next, but just for politics sake, for corporate politics sake, we do have to interview other candidates. I was like, okay, but you got it. Adrian literally lied in my face. You know, I remember where we were, what we were doing, when it happened, but you got it. You're up next. You've been training under me for 4 years. You got this. Don't worry about it. We just got to make it look this way so people don't think that we're favoring you, right? Okay, interviews happened. There was only Anna, Mircea, a Romanian guy, and this one other person, Brian, and then me. And by the way, I still had an interview. That kind of blew me away. I'm like, wait, I'm having an interview too, right? So okay, whatever. I put my presentation together, everything I've done over the past, decade with these people, the extra streams of revenue that I brought to that company, and I'm like, okay, whatever. I was a great presentation. I got this, right? So then they pull me in, and Adrian, the regional manager, ended up giving it to his best friend, a guy that was ranked 17th. I was ranked number 1. He ended up giving it to his best friend because Adrian was Romanian and so was he, and they used to travel the world together. They used to go, to Europe and they used to go to Bali, and that concerned me. When Mircea, who this guy was a joke, right? This guy was like, he was ranked 17th. He was kind of a goofy guy, never really, never took his job serious. He's interviewing. I'm like, why is he interviewing? He's not even top 3, top 4. And then the guy ends up giving it to his best friend, pretty much his cousin. And I get, I'm shit out of luck. I'm SOL. And they bring me in. By the way, I don't know if that's ever happened to you guys, but when someone rips the world from under you after you worked your ass off. Okay, I was working at this company for so long, and I was working towards that goal for so long, and it was in somebody else's control. Because that is what corporate America, unfortunately, that's just what it is. It's always in somebody else's hands, right? They ripped that from me, and they said, hey, I am so sorry. We're going to give you a week of grievance pay so you can take a week off. And that's when I binge watch Game of Thrones. So that was the only good thing that happened about that, by the way. I watched Game of Thrones for like a straight week. I was depressed. I watched Game of Thrones. I watched at least like 4 to 5 seasons in 1 week. Can you believe that? It's crazy, right? That room stunk. Like, they had to bring food to me. Like, they almost had to bathe me in the bed. I was very depressed. And that's when I said, you know what? Fuck these people. Excuse my language. I said, and I'm sorry, I'm not a perfect Christian. I said, fuck these people. They just screwed me over, man. Like, I was so pissed. So I went from yes man, company guy, working 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday, and working 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Saturdays. I always had the work ethic, right? Just like I do right now, but now I work for myself. So I always had the work ethic. I said, you know what? Screw these people. Fuck them. I'm gonna take a step back. I'm gonna hit them where it hurts. Hey, I'm stepping down. I'm only gonna work 7 to 3 p.m. They're like, what? No. What are you doing? What's going on? But they couldn't afford to let me go anyway because I was always so good. I was one of the top people. They're like, are you sure? Are you sure? Because there's gonna be another position opening up and blah blah. Yeah, I'm sure. And I was so depressed, and I said, you know what? I need to get the fuck out of here. I need to do something with my life. I can't depend on people, right? So that's when I started hustling, man. That's when I started, I took a step back, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I milked that clock, and I took advantage of that time, and I got this this is on camera. I was there answering seller calls, prospect calls, while I was at that job, watching freaking, at that time it was, what was that? That was not Vine, the other one, Periscope. I was sitting there watching Periscope, Sean Terry stuff, when he was on the board and talking. I was sitting there watching Nick Ruiz from Flip Academy. I'm watching webinars while I'm on the clock. I'm reading books when I'm on the clock. I am preparing myself to leave this job. I had already mentally checked out. I was just getting paid to just hang out there at this point. I was mentally checked out. And then one year, I said, I'm going to quit on my birthday, right? I'm going to quit on my birthday. March 7, 2016, I physically checked out. And I was scared. It's crazy. I was scared because I already had, like I said, I had money in the bank, I had deals in the pipeline, and I was still scared. Because I explained this story yesterday. To me, it was like I was in this cage where everything was provided for me. Sleep, food, water, everything, comfort, health benefits, I'm in this cage. Imagine you being in this cage where everything is given to you. All you gotta do is show up every day to that cage. Well, one day, I pretty much opened the cage, but I was so programmed to be in that cage, I refused to step out. I refused to step out of that cage. I was not mentally strong enough to say, oh my God, the door's open. All I gotta do is walk through that door and I'm gone. Start a new life, a new journey begins. So that's how a lot of people are these days. It's easy. It's easier to have a job. It's easy to show up and punch the clock. It's easy to know what you're gonna make in 2 weeks, right? Because entrepreneurs, we don't know. Our income fluctuates. Some days we have, some months we have great months. Some months we have greater months. You guys get that? So I'm not gonna lie to you, I was scared shitless. I remember May of 2016, I think our company made like $5,000 that month. And I showed somebody a check in November, raise your hand if I showed you a check in November of 2016. How much was that check for? $237,000. $237,000, right? Thank you, and I'll explain how that happened. So, $5,000, May of 2016, and I'm like, holy shit, I am scared at this point. You know that feeling you get in your stomach? Oh my God, am I gonna make it, right? Like, I got bills, I have a family, I have all this, whatever, and even though there was some money in the bank, like, you still get that feeling because nothing's working, you're not moving forward. And then you know what I started telling myself? And this is what it's all about, guys. It's all about what you tell yourselves, because nothing is more powerful than what you tell yourself. I said, you know what? If I can make it through this month, I'm gonna fucking fly. I kept saying that to myself. So whenever I would get scared, I'm in the kitchen. I remember talking to my friend, David Brown, and he's being a nurse and everything, and he's like, hey man, are you scared? Because I've known this guy since I was a kid. Are you scared? I'm like, you know what, bro, I am. I said, I'm very scared. But if I can make it through this month, I'm gonna fucking fly. And our first 6-figure month came in July of 2016. May was our lowest produce. We made $5,000 in May of 2016. July, we made over 6 figures. And we haven't made anything less since July of 2016. So, and in December, God blessed us with what's called a package deal. One person sold us 27 properties and we assigned it. And I showed him the check. We made over $237,000 in one deal. And guess what that did to our company? That freaking skyrocketed our company. That skyrocketed our company. We flipped that money so quick. Look at the way that the timeline goes, right? November of 2016, November 30th of 20, so it's pretty much December. December of 2016, we get this big old check. We make our first successful hire. We get our office in February of 2017. And we start hiring more people, and the rest is history. Sir.
So in that process between May and November, when you got that check?
May and July.
May and July. Well, I'm talking about your November check.
But we made like 120 grand in July.
How many people did you have on your team until then? Was it you?
Just me and my partner. Yep. Me and my partner and one cold caller. Yeah, thank you.
Was that cold caller on the clock, or were they?
Yeah, it was my sister-in-law, and she wasn't on the clock. She was just my sister-in-law, you know, working 6 to 8 hours a day cold calling for us. Sierra is now our quality control manager. Now she oversees our campaign of 35 cold callers. Isn't it crazy the way things work out, right? She earned it. I don't give anybody anything in my family, besides my mom, unfortunately, but I don't give anything. But she deserves it too. You see, she earned it too, right? But, you know, the way that went down is we invested that $5 grand. Remember I was talking about the mail marketing campaigns? And then we invested that mail marketing proceeds into pay-per-click campaigns, and that's when we had our first big month. This is the way that our acquisition pay structure. You want junior acquisitions and acquisitions? Okay, so our junior acquisition pay structure, it's a base salary of $1,600 a month. The other $100 if you meet your minimum call requirement, and the other $100 if you meet your minimum deals requirement, which is 5. So that's how you make your $2,000. And guess what? That's a base plus commission, which is 3% of every deal that you bring back to life. So you can make $2,000 plus 3% of every deal that you close. There's acquisition managers. Marina made over $6,000 last month. That's a junior acquisition manager. Now she's an acquisition, but she made over 6K, and then she was a killer. Her and Jody. By the way, women, if you can find, and these are very rare, guys, these are diamonds in the rough. If you can find a woman that is a freaking shark that will close deals for you, you need to hire them. Because the women that we have working in our company, they are really, really high level producers. And you know why? Being a woman in this business, it's an instant rapport builder. They trust you. The prospect trusts the woman over, they're like, she's not gonna screw me over. Oh, he might, right? So those are my jacks. Acquisition, all right, acquisition. The way that we broke it down now, it's $1,500, $2,000, and $2,500, and it's a base pay, or if their commission exceeds that, we don't pay that. So let's just say that, you know, by the way, in the way it breaks down, it's either that is $1,500, same thing, like productivity, performance-based, right? Hit your calls, hit your deals, blah, blah, blah. So the way that breaks down is you get 8%. If you reach zero to 100,000 gross revenue for the company, you get 8%. All the non-doers, right? Because the simple way that we used to pay them was a $2,000 base salary plus 8, 9, or 10%. That's it. But then we started seeing that there was some side chatter. Then we started seeing that some, calls requirements were being made. Then we started seeing that their leads to opportunities weren't being made. You see, we track everything in Podio. It tells us who you are and what you do and how you do it. I'm not gonna sit here and make an opinion, just because I like you or we like the same football team. Now Podio tells me who you are, what you do, and how you do it every single day, the kind of quality, the kind of value that you bring to the company. So to keep it very basic, I don't know if you wanna, if you're kind of like in a startup situation, I would not recommend that you start the base like 1,500, because that when you're a startup, like people are gonna be like, wait a minute, hold on, you're not even bringing deals like that, man, right? So there's not a lot of opportunity to even be super productive, right? Somebody probably can't make 50 calls. I don't know how many leads you have in your CRM, but that's why you want to start them out. What market are you in, by the way?
Greensboro, North Carolina.
Okay, so would you say that $1,600 base pay or $2,000 base pay in that area would get you a solid acquisition manager?
Extremely.
Okay, and this is why don't go with those thresholds yet. Start out with something basic, but still put your 8, 9, or 10% incentives and goals. Okay, what is your goal for your company out of there? What gross revenue what do you do? Wholesale, fix and flip, what do you do?
Fix and flip primarily now.
Fix and flip primarily now.
Some wholesale, but a lot,
Okay, but you still want your acquisition guy to bring that to the table, right? So you can close on it and make a bigger spread, cut out the middleman, increase your margin percentage by 30 to 40%, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so then with an acquisition manager, because you don't want to be the guy, going out, you don't want to be the guy like being in charge of going to the appointments, talking. So you got to bring somebody that's going to get that done for you, right? A go-getter. So like, if you don't mind me asking, what do you make, like, what are you, gross revenue wise, like, what are you consistently bringing to your company right now every single month?
Every single month, 10K plus.
10K plus? Okay, so let's just say that you start at, 50K plus.
Net numbers.
Yeah. Okay, you know what? Let's just say you go something small for now, just to give you an example, 50K plus, right? See, this is what I'm saying. In your situation, you got to offer a little bit of a higher base because the volume and the gross revenue isn't there yet. Okay, but if you get to 100K plus, which God willing, within the next 3 to 6 months, 4 to 6 months, okay, being realistic, if you do everything that you are taught, okay, 4 to 6 months, that should be enough for you to start bringing anywhere from 50, 75, 100K. Let's just say 100K, okay, because we want to shoot right. Because if you shoot for 100K and you end up at 70, 75, you're not going to be disappointed. All right, so let's shoot for 100K. So 100K, you hire this guy, you hire John, and he's a badass acquisition manager. You say, John, you know what? From 0 to 50, I'm going to pay you 8%. From 50 to 75, you're at 9, and from 75 plus, you're at 10%. That's the way that I would break that down. The way that our ROI breaks down for every single quarter now, 3 quarters in a row, that's the beautiful part about having a chief financial officer, because you're no longer flying blind. She literally puts the report right on my desk, boom, with every single number from every single market, right? So, hey, we spent this much on this, and this is how much we got back. We spent this much on that, and this is what we got back. So the way that our top marketing literally in this order, our top marketing avenues, it's pay-per-click, direct mail, cold calling, SMS, RVM, in that order for our markets.
Closure rate?
Every market, excuse me?
That's closure rate or just return on investment?
No, those are our ROI. Our ROI.
I got it.
Guess what though? Closing deals, if you're a great acquisition, it's honestly the same. It's honestly the same. Pay-per-click are the hottest leads that you will run into. We're closing about 1 out of every 10 to 12 people that we come in contact with. Okay? Is that correct?
That's correct.
Let's do some math. Let's do some math. Who cold calls in here? Milan, do me a favor, pull out your calculator. Okay? Watch this, because this is true. All right, your average, let's just say your average, we'll start something even like median. $50 cost per lead, okay? So put 50, this is cold call. This is $50 cost per lead on the cold calling is very, very common, $50 cost per lead. Now, it takes people, I would say about 120 leads sometimes, 120 cold call leads to get one deal, okay? They're some of the coldest leads you're ever gonna get. Multiply 50 times 120. 6,000? All right, let's say that you got the best cold callers in the game. I mean, they speak English, they know rebuttals, they overcome objections, whatever. Let's say 50 times 70. Now it's taking you 70 leads to close one deal. What's that? $3,500, okay? Now, you're in Columbus. Yep. Okay, $89, $90. Ready? $90 cost per lead on pay-per-click times 12 leads. $1,080 was the cost of that deal. How does that feel? That's crazy, right? So it's kind of mind-blowing, right? Yeah. Yeah.
Depends on the market and how strong.
We got all the stats. We have a pay-per-click company. We have a cold calling company. I mean, we have every stat. You tell me where you're at, and I'll tell you what you're paying. Okay? Oh, here we go. So that's kind of crazy, right? That's crazy. All right.
Greensboro, North Carolina.
Greensboro. I mean, Jesus Christ, you're not paying much out there, man. Huh? Yeah, I mean, that's like a D market. There's probably what, 100,000 people there, 200,000, 300,000. Yeah. So your cost per, it doesn't matter. So your cost per lead, pay-per-click wise, would be way less than Columbus.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. You know, so, I mean, the formula still works in your market. It's just lower. Sir?
At lunch, we were talking about buy and holds, multifamily. Have you ever thought of focusing on wholesale side, wholesale multifamily?
So that's something that we're starting to look into. You know, thank God that we kind of have stuck to what we know, niche, you know, which is acquiring off-market discounted properties. But that is the next step for us. But we don't even want to hold. We've wholesaled some multifamily before, you know, 8 units, 4 units, right? Yeah, we've wholesaled some, but we want to start buying and holding those. Right now, it's the best time to buy and hold those right now. You know, especially if you run into something like a, you know, 20, 30, 40, 60 unit, you know, because it's going to take you 50 to 100 houses to be able to produce in net the cap rate or the return that 1 or 2 multifamilies is going to take you, you know, if you get a bigger unit in that sense. The other thing that we were also discussing, and by the way, we're gonna definitely that we're looking into that. That's the next step for us, right? The other thing but we want to buy and hold them. Then the other thing that we were discussing on the table at lunch was, you guys have to understand, wholesaling is just an exit strategy. People keep confusing that what we do is just wholesaling. No, what we do is we find off-market discounted properties. What we choose to do is the exit strategy. And I was discussing that with the developer, where's he at? Right here. I said, hey man, what you choose to do with that property or that lot or that piece of land, I mean, that's your decision. If we want to wholesale it, we'll wholesale it. We want to wholesale it, we'll wholesale it. We want to buy and hold, we'll buy and hold it. If we want to fix and flip it, we'll fix and flip it. Whatever. You know, we specialize in finding these deals like nobody else. What we choose to do, that's just an exit strategy. So don't confuse one thing with another. Question, sir. Give me 1 second.
Philadelphia market?
What was that?
Just the Philadelphia market.
What do you want to know there?
Well, price or
Okay.
what your play would be.
Okay, so Philly, yeah. Philly, when it comes down to pay-per-click, you'll probably be between $90 to $110 in pay-per-click. But like I said, they're still the hottest leads. You're gonna spend less resources, less time acquiring those deals, less headaches. Your cost per deal is gonna be lower, okay? Because then on the cold calling side, you are at $60, $70 cost per deal. I'm sorry, cost per lead on the cold calling side. You see what I'm saying? So you're still at an advantage with pay-per-click out there. And by the way, and before we get to the next questions, when it comes to pay-per-click, guys, it's not, there's an equation. It's an equation, okay? There's a formula. You know, yes, you gotta have a great campaign manager. You gotta have a great campaign manager. But you also gotta have a great website. You know, optimize, speed, the way it loads, CRO, the way it's you know, the way the format, the layout of it. It's very easy for people to just plug and play and give you their information, you know, right? That's step number 2. And then guess what you gotta have on the 3rd step? What do you gotta have?
You gotta have a shark on the other end of that phone, ready to pick it up. Not, oh, let's wait for it to go to voicemail, I'll call you back type shit. You gotta pick that phone up because those people are super hot. Super, super hot.
Do you guys understand that when it comes to pay-per-click? Right? A great campaign manager, great website, and guess what? The person handling those calls, you want to put your best person, because that call is worth $90 to $110 to $120. If you're in the Bay Area, you're at $200 to $300. That's how much that call is worth. So you want to capitalize. You got to treat that freaking lead like gold. You can't increase your deal volume unless you increase your marketing or marketing avenues. Now, I would never tell you to shut down something that works, that's suicide. But I would tell you to add, all right? If you're gonna get crazy return on mail, send more mail. But also start adding other avenues too. Guess what? You know, the way pay-per-click works is if nobody's looking for you, you're not spending, if you're running a pay-per-click campaign and nobody's looking for you, guess what? You're not spending money. It's just sitting there, it's fine, it's okay, because you're not gonna waste that money in vain. Right? You only waste money on the campaign when somebody actually clicks on your page and goes to your page and freaking, submits a lead. Well, cost per click and cost per conversion. So you only waste money when actually somebody clicks on your page. Why? Because it's a bidding format. It's a bidding format every single day. And if it's uncharted territory in your market, you need to get on it as soon as possible. Because guess what? Even if you just say, you know what, I'm gonna start out with 5,000, see how that works out. You get one deal, you make 50 grand. Is that worth it? That's a 10x return. Question?
Yeah. So, do you think someone needs to learn how to be a great, what you call them sharks, right? Do you think someone, like I as the owner of the company, need to first learn how to be a great shark, or I can hire for that?
So that's have you ever closed deals? So you probably don't need to hire somebody. Now, not everybody has that capability, and that's okay, because everybody has different skill sets. If you're not born with, people skills and being a genuine person that actually cares, wants to help out, because guys, it ain't, I got news for you. A lot of these discounted properties, it ain't just about the money. There's something deeper going on. Okay, something deeper. And the person that digs the deepest is gonna get that deal. So if you already have the capability of doing that and you have it, you don't need to hire somebody. You don't need to hire somebody until you're getting enough leads to where you say, hey, you know what? I think I'm missing out on opportunities here because I can't handle all these damn leads. Okay? There was another question. Sure.
Make sure I didn't jump in line.
You good?
What are your best direct mail strategies right now? What is yielding the most return?
So what we do is we mail. This is the less is more kind of approach to when it comes down to what's called the golden address. Excuse me. Who's heard of the golden address? Okay. Where did you guys hear it? Where did you guys hear old golden address? Okay. So less is more, right? When it comes down to less is more, we freaking downloaded the entire Maricopa County, the entire Clark County in Nevada. We download all these counties and we just mail the golden address. Boom, 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 boom. That always gives us a 10 to 12x return, and people can't believe it. I was arguing with the guy in June. No way, you're getting 10x on your mail? Yeah, because guess what? Now I'm not spending as much money, even though I'm sending 110,000 pieces of mail, which is around anywhere from $32,000 to $35,000. But guess what? I'm sending 110,000 pieces of mail, and if I even get 5 leads at $30,000 to $40,000 a pop, how much is that? 150 grand. Is that a hell of a return? So it's the golden address. Less is more. Less is more. That means that you would download your entire city, and you'll probably only end up mailing to about 12 to 20% of that list. And that's the golden address. The golden address is that third address that Need to Skip gives you, because TransUnion, remember I explained that third address, that you have a physical address, you have a mailing address, and then you have this third address that seems really funky. But that address was captured by TransUnion when they ran like some kind of credit check for whatever reason. They're getting a phone, a new car, apartment, whatever. Okay?
So you want touch as well?
No, we do it at least 3 times. Yeah, at least 3 times.
You mailed all 3 addresses or just the?
No, we only do the golden address.
Just that last?
That's it. The third address, not the physical, not the mailing, the last address. And that address has made people a lot of money. Have you ever caught anything from the golden address? Okay. He's in Columbus. Any questions out here? Got one here, got one here. Let's go here.
Yeah, so the TransUnion, you're actually paying for that as well? I mean, you're actually going out and getting that. I mean, that third address, how are you acquiring it? I mean, I know you said TransUnion, but how and what format are you going at?
Well, it's through needtoskip.com. Needtoskip.com is affiliate. It's not affiliate, but it's partnering up with that specific bureau. You get it? Need NEED like David, to skip like SKIPTRACE.com. Needtoskip.com. Question.
I'm more interested in the VAs. My question is, how do you contact a company with a VA? We already have our scripts. We're just, do we pick and choose the VA? How do you train them? And how do you know, if you're not satisfied with the quality they're doing?
Yeah, what market are you in?
California.
Oh,
He's from
California.
You can go a couple different routes. You can go VAs that you're gonna constantly train yourself, spend 1 to 2, 1 day, 2 days a week, going over rebuttals and constant training, and you're gonna deal with constant turnover and blah, 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 and you can't depend on a lot of these people. It's solely your responsibility that these VAs are productive, which kind of sucks. And to give you some numbers, when we had Filipinos and we didn't have call geeks yet, 2017, we made 17 deals only from cold calling, 2017, and it was awful. It was tough. It was really tough, and we were paying $5, $6 an hour. With Call Geeks, if you get 3 agents or more now, you can do $10 an hour, and that is all inclusive. That means training. They train them before they hit the floor. They have a supervisor. They have a floor, like literally a floor supervisor, 1 supervisor for every 20 agents. Also, they have quality assurance managers, so you can get access to like recordings and things like that. Most importantly, you have someone named Jason Williams, the operations manager, sending you reports every single day, letting you know all your metrics, how many dials were dialed that day, how many hours people clocked in that day, because you only get charged for dial time, not like if people are going to the restroom or eating. You only get charged for dial time. And then also, most importantly, the health of your list. Okay, if you're cold calling, you want to know what the health of your list is, because contact ratio is going to determine if you're going to get leads or not. Okay, if your cold callers can't make contacts, then they can't, and they're not talking to people, you're not going to get leads. And how are you ever going to know that? Right? People aren't sending these reports. So to me, that's a very important thing is, okay, where's the health of my list? Where's my contact ratio? Ideally, a very good contact ratio is 10% plus. Anything between 7 to 10% is solid. Anything below 7%, you got to get a new list. Okay? And back to your question, you have to understand that in the acquisition game, you're going to have what's called a cancellation ratio of about 20%. That's the average. Okay, 2 out of 10 deals that you acquire, more than likely, unfortunately, for whatever odd reason, you are going to end up canceling. So there's a couple ways that you can structure that. You can have inspection periods. You can have out clauses in your contract. There's a couple different ways that you can do. But, again, my advice to a lot of people is know your numbers. And before you commit to someone, because you can't just be playing with people's lives, before you commit to a property, make sure that you know your numbers to the point where, you know what, if I can't wholesale this deal, I'm gonna take it down because the numbers are solid, the numbers make sense. So know your numbers. Know your numbers. Know what is the absolute best that you can pay for that property and what kind of return you're expecting for that property. That way you're not playing with the seller's lives and et cetera, et cetera. Sir.
I think you guys had briefly mentioned dispo strategies as far as like posting them online and giving it a period of time and basically just most effective dispo strategies.
What are some of the most effective?
Yeah, just curious, because some people will sell immediately.
Yeah, so just like Sal says, when it comes to dispositions, because he's in charge of the disposition side, he oversees that, and you got Jaden Pudney and you got Isela. We got 2 dispo managers, and it takes you work so hard to get a deal. If you're a wholesaler, you work so hard to get a deal, and the first thing you want to do is like a hot potato. You're like, oh my God, I got this deal. I just want to get rid of it, right? I want to get rid of it. And if you do that, you're going to lose out on a lot of money if you're not. You gotta be calm and collective, and you got to take the time to really, get it out there. Get enough eyes out there to see who's going to give you a man. You may be costing yourself 10, 20, 15 extra $1,000 on that property just because you're such in a hurry to get rid of it. Why are you such in a hurry to get rid of a property that you worked your ass off to get?
How do you, obviously the price of the house that you can offer is obviously based on the condition of the property. What systems do you guys use to verify when you make that offer that that condition of the house lot of sellers might say, oh, the house is in great shape and there's a hole in the roof, right? So what systems do you guys use to, in some of these virtual markets that you work, verify that that house is in the shape that they're telling you?
Every seller says that, you know, the house is perfect, right? And we're gonna go about 5 minutes more. That way we give you guys time to get back and, you know, shower up, get ready. I think everybody's going to dinner at like 7 or something, right? So back to your question, we have boots on the ground. You know, it's all about setting up an infrastructure in every single virtual market that you're in. You know, partnering up with the right title agency, putting the right boots on the ground, whether it's a professional agent or just somebody that, you know, you reached out to on social media, or WeGoLook.com or 123notary.com. You have so many resources that can go and take a look at this property, take pictures, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now, if the seller lied to you, this is where it gets good. You know, this is where it starts benefiting you even more, because now you start to renegotiate. Hey, well, you didn't tell me that the AC was out. You said it works. That's, you know, $6,000 more that I have to spend. Hey, you didn't tell me you had foundation issues in some states, right? Hey, you didn't tell me there was mold. You know, hey, you didn't tell me that that addition, you know, wasn't, what's the word, the terminology? Wasn't permitted, wasn't up to code, right? So there's so many different things. We're never gonna finalize on actually like, you know, buying this property unless we know enough of this property. Every market is different. You know, in a place like Las Vegas, you got a guy trying to make 10%. You sell him a $225,000 property, they want to gross $22,500. Okay, so the way that I would do that is, let's just say a property is, it only needs about, let's just say $10,000, okay? All right, so we'll do some common math. 225 grand is the after repair value. So I'm gonna take away, 225, I'm gonna take away the $10,000 rehab cost. I'm gonna take away the $22,500 that the seller wants to make. And then I'm gonna deduct whatever wholesale assignment that I need to make. And anything under that is the maximum allowed offer. Now, you're gonna price anchor them, right? So what was it? So 225, take away, can you pull out your phone again? 225, take away 10,000, take away 22.5. Oh, you know what we're missing? We're missing the 0.93%, the 7% in double closing and agency fees. So I got it right here. Yeah, I'm sorry. Here we go. Ready? 225 times 0.93. We're at 209,250. Take away $10,000 in rehab. Take away 22,500 that the end buyer wants to make. So anything under 176,750 in Las Vegas, Nevada, I'm making money anything below that. So let's just say that I price anchor them at like 120, right? At 120, I'm making $56,000 on a wholesale assignment. But they're like, are you kidding me? No, I'm not selling you my profit for 120. I need at least 140, right? So, okay, well, we're at $20,000 more. And this happens all the time. So, still make $36K on a wholesale assignment fee. Again, every single market is different. Imagine if you close 100 properties and you spent an extra $2,500 on closing every single property. No, it's not $250,000, is it? No, it's like 25 grand extra. What is it? 2,500 times 100. What is that? 2,500 times 100. Any mathematicians in here? Huh? 25 grand. So, no, so 25 grand, right? So that's an extra 25 grand that could pay for marketing and overhead and all kinds of stuff. So, and to answer your question, and then I'll take one more question after him if anybody has any. To answer your question, if I had to start all over again, I would probably, you know, this is what I would do. Like me personally, which you don't have this situation, I would have left my job sooner, right? Left my job sooner. Wait, you don't have a job, right? Okay, good. All right, so I would have left my job sooner. I would have overcame fear sooner. I would have looked at marketing as an investment, not an expense, sooner. Okay? It's an investment, not an expense. I would have overcame that fear sooner, right? I would have hired sooner. I would have billed sooner, you know, and that's what I would do. I mean, literally it's like, you know, like I would have systemized everything sooner. Like example, you know, running KPIs You know, instead of flying blind for 2 years, we probably could have made a lot more money if we knew exactly in black and white what we were doing. So those are some of the things that I would have done.